.900. They both had showed flashes of being able to produce on the major league level when they had a chance. Wallner reached base 9 consecutive times, I believe, before he got sent down when someone got healthy. There's a cavalry. It looks like there could be a cavalry at St. Paul that I think they're going to have to let out of the pen here sooner than later.
Well, if anything, just another option. Just try something else, because we're the definition of insanity at the moment here. We're talking with Lavelli Neal III, columnist for the Star Tribune, beat writer forever and ever, former president of the Baseball Writers Association of America. And along those lines, let's talk about the kids from St. Paul, because we've all been there. We've all seen it. Cincinnati, kind of had a similar situation this year where they had to sit a popular player that's an older veteran because they've got the kid coming up to be insane. And I'm not saying that's what Wallner and Larnach are going to be, but historically, and maybe specifically about why these two aren't getting a shot specifically this season, and you could share it with us, but historically, what has been the hesitation when you have guys that clearly look like they're ready to spread their wings a little bit and help you at the highest level, the hesitation to go ahead and let them do that at the expense of struggling veterans? What holds teams back from doing that?
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know at this point why they're sticking with Kepler and Gallo as long as they have, or at least bench one of them and let one of these other guys get a shot here. Talking with Roy Smalley on our weekly Chin Music podcast, Smalley thinks highly of Larnach. He thinks Larnach's going to be a highly productive player. He had to kind of get over that. He's still trying to get through that learning curve a little bit about getting pitched backwards. He proved he can torch a fastball, and I believe like 2 years ago when he was first called up, he and Kirilloff saw like the fewest amount of fastballs in the league. Teams just started spinning the ball on him, and it looked like Larnach has tried to make an adjustment to that. And then there was I believe there was a Dodgers series where I thought he had a couple nice at bats, had some key hits, and was thinking, okay, maybe he's making a step forward here. So I like to see him get another shot. The thing is, Wallner, I haven't seen him play a lot, but this year when he's had a shot, I was like, man, I like this guy. The ball jumps off his bat. I was told he had trouble with breaking balls, but it looks like he was getting around on a couple during his most recent visit to the majors. He's got a cannon for an arm, and so he won't be a problem in right field. I think he throws 94 for the outfield. So defensively, he's going to be a threat. And he's got pop. Both those guys have power potential, man. And Larnach, is not afraid to hit the ball to center field or the opposite field. Wallner's got great power. There's a lot of potential there. And it's not like they're young. I think they're both like 24 now. One maybe even 25. So, it's time. I know it's tough to win and develop, but my goodness, if they come up and have put up a 750 OPS, they'll be better than Kepler. And if they don't strike out as much as Gallo, and put the ball in play, they'll be more successful. So I don't know what the Twins have to lose at this point, to be honest with you. The offense can't be any worse than it is right now. What's the harm of telling Kepler he's got a sprained ankle and needs to go on IL and giving a spot for 10 days to either Larnach or Wallner to see if he can thrive? I'm like, let's go.
What was your reaction to Sonny Gray's comments at the All-Star game that he hasn't necessarily ruled out retirement at the end of the season? To catch people up, he said, wouldn't shock me if I didn't play anymore after this year. Wouldn't shock me. Do I want to? Do I think I can? Absolutely. And I can at a very, very high level. It's not about the money. It's about whether you still enjoy it, and does your family still enjoy it? That's the end of the quote. He is in the final year of his deal. Twins could offer him a qualifying offer, right? Like 1 year, right around $20 million. He can test free agency, which he's never been able to do fully. So I know he's excited about that. How did you take the Sonny Gray comments during the All-Star break?
That part was a little weird to me. Just because he's going to finally be a free agent. I mean, players work so hard. They toil, they train, they deal with bumps and bruises, they deal with hitters telling them they're not good, and he gets to a point where he could be a free agent. He's at a spot right now where other players, strive to be at, to salivate over, to have that flexibility where you can choose where you want to go. You can go to check out other cities, be wined and dined, check out how the pitcher staff is, how the pitching coaching structure is, and make a decision that's best for you and your family, And, come off the year he's having, he's going to get like $20 million a year.
You'd think so.
So I think Mrs. Gray would be all for that. I know his kids are getting older. Gunner, I can't remember the name of the other one. I know they're getting older, and maybe he wants to be around them more. Maybe they're starting to play sports, and he feels like he needs to be a sports dad. But I think he could push that back for 3 or 4 years and take advantage of the opportunity he has. Because most players, once they get to the free agency, this is what they want to do. I mean, he also talked about not closing the door on the Twins. I think in the end of the day, he's going to look around for another gig. He's going to allow teams to recruit him, and he's going to make a decision that's best for him and his family.
Lavelle E. Neal III, final couple of minutes with Wobbs, making his regular Friday appearance on Bumper to Bumper. Have you started to stream or finished streaming Quarterback, the Kirk Cousins story, which I'm going with?
I've not seen any of it.
Lavelle.
I've read and heard that Cousins is a star in this thing. So I guess I'm going to have to bite the bullet and check out Cousins, my fellow Inver Grove Heights resident, and to see what has made him a star of this show. I don't even know what platform is it on.
Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Oh, good. We have a Netflix account.
Yeah, come on, man. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Mariota, and you got my guy Kirk. You got QB1, number 8, showing what a great dad he is, showing how tough he is, and showing how rich he is with all of his houses. There are multiple houses. They're really nice. But you haven't seen it, so I'll frame it to you this way. Something that stood out to me, and I'm through almost 5 episodes. I think there's 8. He's obviously a very meticulous young man, right? He takes copious notes, the whole thing about he has his day planned in 15-minute increments. He gets in his own head a little bit. One of the things he talks about struggling with, and they actually show him talking to the sports psychologist for the team, basically consuming himself with the negative possible outcomes and letting the negative stuff basically wear him down and drag him down, and he has a hard time moving on. And to me, I think that's a good instructive look at why he probably hasn't ascended to the highest of high levels, let alone he doesn't have the natural talent of Patrick Mahomes. They show him basically how he's got the strongest neck and spine in the history of people. So he can do all these things that a normal person can't do. It's bizarre. But Cousins' own admission that he tends to think too negatively and worry too much about a negative outcome, he feels like has held him back in some certain spots. And I think as a guy who's watched him for a long time, it's easy to see that could be something that would hold him back,
That's a fine line. I mean, when you said holding him back in certain spots, I immediately think about his last pass of the postseason last year.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Let it go,
We talked about that.
It's a fine line, though, because at the same time, some people use negative outcomes to sharpen their focus, It may have helped him get to the point where he's at, thinking about how bad this could be and finding the resolve and the determination going, you know what, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and it's going to be all right. Other people don't like having negative thoughts drift into their heads. People are weird, man. People synthesize information. They synthesize life differently.
Yep.
And they apply it in different ways.
And he is strange.
Go ahead.
He does some, he calls it abstract, like brain therapy, where he basically hooks his brain up to a bunch of different stuff and trains it to stay focused for extended periods of time. He'll just sit in his car and strap himself up with all this stuff. He does it at home. His wife, Julie, does it. But I think it shows you, the dude is literally turning over every rock to try to figure out how to improve himself, which I like, which I respect.
Yeah, I'm still going to maintain Kirk Cousins wasn't the problem last year. I know there's some fans who are grumbling about him and thinking that the stats are empty because he gets them in the fourth quarter of games they can't win. But I still think the problem the last few years has been the defense. Him throwing the ball has not been an issue, except for that last play last year. But at that point, there's some other things going on with the Vikings as well.
Yep, you would have enjoyed the 4:00 hour because I pretty much went down that entire road. And no surprise, say about 44% agreed with me, 44% thought I was an idiot, and the other 12% just stayed out of it completely because it's too hot of a topic to talk about Kirk Cousins. But that's what I went down. So I appreciate you, Wobbs. Have a great weekend. We will hopefully see you in person soon.
Yeah, next time, by the time the Twins come back home, maybe you have a new left fielder or a new right fielder. Let's see.
Or Sonny Gray will be traded, as a rental player. Yeah, I'm with you. Thanks, Wobbs. Have a good weekend.
All right, man. Later.
Lavelle E. Neal III making his weekly appearance on Bumper to Bumper. We're in our final minute or so, according to the Borton Volvo lineup. I want to thank everybody that listened today. We had some great talkbacks today. That was the beauty of it. We really wanted to open the talkback line. Got controversial. Got kind of silly early because it's middle of July. Everybody's making their own weather when it comes to hot sports takes. So we reacted to a couple of those, including the possibility of trading Justin Jefferson. And were the Vikings slow playing JJ on a contract to do that? We had some fun with that, some good talkbacks of that in the first hour. Pierre Nugent from Fox 9, he came in, was his usual explosive self. If you see him at the Killers concert tonight, please feel bad for him and tell him you're sorry that he got sold fake tickets for last night's First Avenue show, which was a buzzkill. That's all podcastable. Lavelle E. Neal III, also our other guest. Brett had the top 5 at 5. Productive day, I'd say, today. Productive day on this Summer Friday. And speaking of Summer Fridays, it's time for Summer Hours when we come back. Dan had a great conversation with Chris Carter earlier in the week, talking about an event he's part of here in a couple of weeks. They'll discuss that and some Viking stuff as well. All that's coming up in Summer Hours, Bumper to Bumper, final half hour after this. Thanks, everybody.
What does summer sound like in a new Chevy? Find the best way to the ballpark with the Chevy Equinox navigation system. Load up the kayaks with room to spare in the spacious Chevy Trailblazer with 60/40 split folding rear seats. Haul out the camper and spend a night roasting marshmallows with the Chevy Silverado. Or feel the roar of the crowd and bring the whole crew along in the Chevy Traverse with seating for up to 8. So what are you waiting for? Click now and find summer happiness in a new Chevy. Visit ChevyDealOnline.com. Traverse seating up to 8, standard and LS available on LT with second row bench seat, RS Premier and High Country seat 7.